Hello everybody, we are back with another video. After only a short time, we'd love to talk about some of this really awesome Final Fantasy cards. Tifa, martial artist. I'm Levi.
My name is Howie.
This is Northwest Magic, and today we're doing a deck
Yeah.
tech. A deck tech on Tifa, martial artist. She's cool. 1 red, green, white, legendary creature, human, monk, melee. Whenever one or more creatures you control with power 7 or greater deal combat damage to a player, untap all creatures you control. If it's the first combat phase of your turn, there's additional combat phase after this phase. Very powerful, I would say. I played against this a few times.
Yeah, I've been playing it a lot. This is my personal list. Howie's Tifa martial artist deck.
We're diving into the head of Howie right now.
Head of Howie. First off, I'm going to say, why isn't anybody making any deck techs on this? I'm pretty sure I searched YouTube the other day, and there was like one video, and I'm pretty sure they got it wrong, like what she does.
Oh.
Like, it was either infinite combats or something dumb. You only get extra combats from the first combat, right? And then you have to hit with a power 7 or greater during the additional combats to continue to untap your creatures. So you have to keep hitting every combat. Blockers hurt this deck. Anyway. So, like, the main game plan, right, is going to be turn 1, Esper Sentinel every time. Turn 1 Esper Sentinel, turn 2 Mana Dork, turn 3 Tifa, turn 4. Hopefully you can get an extra combat somehow. So we're gonna go ahead and say that something you really need is Mana Dorks. Even though we're in green, you don't. I have a couple. I have 3 ramp spells that are sorceries that get lands and stuff, and those are in here for some landfall synergies that we do have, but you do want a lot of your ramp to be Mana Dorks so they can attack and trigger her melee. I don't think we said what melee does. Tifa gets +1/+1 for each opponent you are attacking when you attack until end of turn. So during the additional combats, that also stacks. So if you attack 3 people during the first one, she becomes a 7/7, and 3 during the next one, she becomes a 10/10, and so on. So we have some of the best green Mana Dork ramp out there for this sort of strat. We have a Fanatic of Ronos, and although it's not on the list right now, but I'm gonna put Bloom Tender in here too, so that we can tap for a lot of mana. They both tap for like a whole bunch, right? But they can also attack. And then like the baby versions that people don't play, Elysian Caryatid and Whisper of the Wilds both have Ferocious, more or less. Add a mana or add 2 if you have a creature with power 4 or greater. Tifa's 4 power. So starting your 4th turn, ideally, feels good to have 4, 5, 6, 7 mana. We also have a couple new cards in the 2 Mana Dork slot. We have Bugenhagen, Wise Elder. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control a creature with power 7 or greater, draw a card. Incidental card draw. If you get something with power 7 or greater, there are plenty in the deck.
Bugenhagen's great.
And Torgal, a fine hound. 1 and a green for a wolf. Whenever you cast your first human creature spell each turn, it enters with an additional +1/+1 counter on it for each dog and or wolf you control. I believe we have one of those, and it's this card right here. Yeah, that's accurate. But Tifa coming down on turn 3 as a 5/5, and then the next turn you can swing with her and Torgal, and she's a 7/7. Just like that. Now, to make sure we get things always to the 7 power threshold is super important in the deck. So we want to have cards that let us do that very consistently. So we have a couple of cards that do basically the same thing. First, we have Sky Hunter Strike Force, and second, we have Adriana, captain of the guard. Skyhunter Strike Force is 2 and a white. Adriana is 3, a red and a white. They both have melee, and they both give all your other creatures melee. Skyhunter Strike Force only does it if you control your commander, which you should be doing at all times after turn 3. So you might be reading Tifa and think, wow, Howie said during the first combat, whenever you hit people, you can get extra combat, so you can get 3 in a turn. But actually, you can do a lot more than that with the following cards. We have the new card, Go-Go, Mysterious Mime. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may have Go-Go become a copy of another target creature you control until end of turn, except its name is Go-Go, Mysterious Mime. If you do, Go-Go and that creature each get +2/+0 and gain haste until end of turn and attack this turn if able. So because he keeps his name, he can copy Tifa. So if you get get both out and you just have those two and you swing and they each hit an opponent, because of their melee, they're going to be 8/8s because Go-Go gives them +2. I'm sorry, 8/6s. And so when Tifa hits you, Levi, I'm going to get 2 additional combats because Go-Go and Tifa both see that and they both have the ability. And then when they hit Nick, I get 2 more. So with 2 cards, that's 4 additional combats. And then, oh my god, they just get bigger and bigger from there on with all the melee that's going on. Crazy. Roaming Throne, of course, doubles triggers. Same thing, more or less. We also have Annie Joins Up, doubles all triggers of legendary creatures, which all the important ones are legendary. It also deals 5 damage to a creature or planeswalker an opponent controls when it enters. We also have, I think there's one more copy thing. Oh, it's not a copy thing, but Blade Historian is 4 hybrid Boros pips. And it says attacking creatures you control have double strike. So even though it hits twice, it's 2 times in the same first combat, giving you 2 triggers each. The next category that we're going to talk about is things that have triggers when you attack or you have it at the beginning of combat trigger. So we have, to hit that 7 power threshold, we have cards like Xenagos. At the beginning of combat on your turn, every combat is triggered. It's crazy. Another target creature you control gets haste and +X until end of turn, where X is that creature's power. So if you just have Xenagos and Tifa, Tifa will become a 9/9 when she attacks, and then during a second combat, when she hits, she'll become a 19/19 because of the melee. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. We also have Bright Palm Soul Awakener. It has backup 1, so when it enters, you put a +1/+1 counter on a creature. If it's another creature, Tifa, it gains the following ability until end of turn. Whenever this creature attacks, you double the number of +1/+1 counters on target creature, and it can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less this turn. Again, that's crazy with extra combats. So you can attack with Tifa when she gets the backup. She'll get a +1 counter from the Bright Palm coming in, and then now she has 2 +1 counters, +1 melee. So then she's a 7/7, and then you go to your next combat, and the 2 counters become 4 counters, and she has another melee trigger on top of that. We have Goreclaw. This card has done a lot of work for me. I tell you what, creature spells you cast with power 4 or greater cost 2 less to cast. That's a huge amount of ramp. I always forget it even does that. I forgot until right this second. Isn't that crazy? Whenever Goreclaw attacks, each creature you control with power 4 or greater gets +1/+1 and gains trample until end of turn. Something notable about Tifa is that she says whenever 1 or more creatures you control with power 7 or greater deals combat damage to a player, whatever, blah, 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 whatever the rest she does is important. But she doesn't care if you hit with 7 power, like 7 damage. She just cares that a 7 power creature gets through. So if you trample over and you only hit him for 1, it still triggers. Orin Frostfang and Toski and Kutzil are all amazing cards in this deck as far as card draw goes, and their card draw on a creature, so you can get more melee triggers. So they all more or less are going to say whenever a creature you control deals damage to a player, draw a card. In the case of Kutzil, it has to be a creature with power greater than its base power, which Tifa will always Literally always have if she attacks, because she will always counter herself.
Melee.
Always. And Kutzel says your opponents can't cast spells during your turn. Super underrated
So good.
text there. If you can get it off, Polygoyf is freaking awesome. If you can get that to 7 power, it's 2 and a green for Trample and Myriad. Its power and toughness. I'm sorry. Power is equal to the number of card types among cards in all graveyards, and its toughness is equal to that number +1. You will almost always it'll be like a 3/4 probably on average, and then, someone plays a fetch land, and now it's a 4/5, and then if you can pump these guys up, it gets crazy. Some bigger finishers in the deck that I really like are cards like Thunderfoot Baloth. As long as you control your commander, it and other creatures you control get +2/+2 and have trample. Jetmir, we don't go too wide, but we still hit like the second threshold here. Creatures you control get +1/+0 and have vigilance. If you control 3 or more creatures, +1/+0 and trample. That's good as long as you control 6 or more creatures, and +1/+0 and double strike as long as you control 9 or more creatures. And I think the last one I want to hit in this category, I don't even know what category we're in, but like this good category, guys.
The get you in category.
The get you in for like do a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? So Zopandrel, Hunger Dominus. It's 5 green for a Phyrexian Horror. He is a 4/6. This one, the game when we played this like on last Friday.
You beat me with him.
You had it in what I thought was an insurmountable lead, and then I drew this card and I gave it haste.
And you just won.
It was over. Yeah. At the beginning of each combat, double the power and toughness of each creature you control. You also thought it was just power. It's power and toughness.
Yeah.
So I think I had two extra combats, so 3 combats. So I had this out and a Mossborn Hydra, which fantastic card here. Yeah, just do a whole bunch of damage, and you can sacrifice 2 other creatures to give it indestructible. I don't know if that will be happening here. We're not making like an excess of tokens. If you threw in Scoot Swarm, you could, because we're running like fetch lands and stuff. But we have a couple of landfall things that I think are cool in here. I haven't drawn a couple of these yet, but theoretically, they're good. We have Mossborn Hydra, amazing. Trample. It enters with a +1 counter, and it doubles the +1 counters on it whenever you play a land, or whenever a land enters under your control. In a similar vein, we have Scythecat Cub. 1 in a green. Trample has built-in trample. It's a 2/2. Whenever a land you control enters, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. If this is the second time it's resolved this turn, double the +1 counters on that creature instead. Gets big quick. We have 2 other landfall cards that are kind of similar. We have Territorial Scythecat. It's a 2/1 with trample. Whenever a land, I can't speak, I'm talking too quick. Whenever a land enters under your control, put a +1 counter on it. And Glyph Elemental, which does the same thing, except for it also has bestow, so you can bestow like Tifa and just make sure that she is always hitting your 7 power threshold no matter what, and then if she gets destroyed, the bestow creature falls off, but it keeps its +1 counters, and so you have something big. Easy include was Galta Primal Hunger. You know her, you love her. Big Dino, just costs green. That 10 is not really there for a 12/12 with trample.
Yeah, I mean, everything is in service of getting Tifa as large as you can and trying to get as many combats as you can. If the creatures don't help you get there, you need like 3, maybe.
I feel like I've easily in like maybe like 60 or 70% of the games I played with her, and I've already played 7 or 8 games with her. So I don't know, I'm just throwing random percentages out there, but a lot of the time I feel like I've been able to threaten commander damage on turn 3 or 4.
Yeah.
4 or 5.
Yeah.
It's pretty much happening.
It's very fast. This is a kill on sight commander, everybody, so
I mean, don't tell them that.
If you decide to play her.
It's crazy, dude. I cannot believe this is one of the cards, the commanders in the whole Final Fantasy set that I'm feeling is underrated. Not just because she's, like, actually really good, but, like, I don't know a lot about Final Fantasy. I'm trying to get into it recently, but, like, I feel like people like Tifa. She's a fan favorite, so I don't know why people aren't. They're looking at that other mono green one, which is good, but I like this one. A couple notable instants. We have like a good instant package, right? We have the Beast Within, Generous Gift, Chaos Warp, the 3 mana, remove whatever you need to. I also really like Boros Charm in here because you can either deal 4 damage to a player, make your permanents indestructible this turn, or you can give a creature double strike. That means that you can, in a pinch, use this to get an additional combat with that double strike if you need to. Oh, you should have said this at the beginning of the video. There's no game changers in here. I took all my game changers out. We're gonna make a video about that soon.
Yeah.
You don't need game changers to win games. It's crazy. It's, to me, game changer list is now the ban list. Like I don't need it. You can play them if you want, but I don't need that in my life. If you're playing CDH, run them. But
yeah.
I don't. A couple other notable cards as we move down to our artifacts category are Lightning Greaves and Swiftfoot Boots. We love the haste. We also have Arena of Glory for haste. Stellar card, one of the best cards of 2024.
That also helped.
I don't care what anyone says.
Did we make so good?
Did we make a top 10? No, we made a top 10 worst cards of 2024.
Yeah,
right?
We didn't make a top 10.
We were trying to be different than all the other content creators. But if we made a top 10 list, Arena of Glory for me would have probably been in the top 4 or 3 of 2024.
Yeah.
Huge fan of the card. It's in every single red deck I will ever make until the end of time. There's no way it ever gets replaced. Huge fan. Herd Heirloom.
This is going in most of my green decks, actually, too.
Also is going in most of my green decks.
Yeah.
Huge fan. That line of text, until end of turn, target creature you control with power 4 or greater gains trample, and whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. That's fantastic with extra combats. You can draw 3 or 4 cards with that. Use it for mana or use it for draw. Crazy. Great hinge, of course. I'm surprised that's not a game changer. Beastmaster Ascension and Faladar Retreat are both awesome, giving all your creatures +1/+1 counters and vigilance, or that +5/+5 with when you get 7 quest counters on Beastmaster Ascension whenever you attack. Very good. Some notable cards that I have not put in the deck. I'm going to change the deck. It's not going to stay the same all the time. But I was looking at Galta and Maverin. It's not in the deck. You're not going to find it in this list. Honorable mention if you find something in here you don't like. Like so far, I have Sire of 7 Deaths in here, but it doesn't feel great. I've never been able to cast it and feel good about it. So maybe replace that for the same mana cost with Galta and Maverin, because whenever you attack, it doesn't have to be the one attacking. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Attack with Tifa. You make an attacking 7/7, right? Because isn't the thing attacking?
Yeah.
That's
the thing that comes
crazy.
in attacking, or you make 1/1 vampires that are not attacking.
Yeah. Okay. So you can attack and you get an extra combat off of that additional 7/7. You can't attack with it the next combat though, because it doesn't have haste, right? But you will still get an attacking 10/10, and now you have a 7/7 blocker. And if you get a third combat, then you'll have a 10/10 and 7/7 untapped, and you'll be attacking with a 13/13. That's crazy.
Yeah, Galta Maverin is a good idea in here due to the combat triggers.
Yeah. Huge fan. Oh, I haven't put this in the deck yet, but I just put it in, so I haven't tested it, so that's why it's not on this list. But Precon Commander Leonor, Autumn Sovereign. Have you seen that card?
Nope.
It's the human Precon from Midnight Hunt or Crimson Vow. It says at the beginning of combat on your turn, you put a +1/+1 counter on a creature you control, and if you have 3 or more creatures with different power, which I feel like that's super easy to achieve, you draw a card. So at the beginning of combat, you pump something and draw a card. Like, it's 4 mana, it's 2 in a Celestia, but hey man, you put 2 counters on something and draw 2 cards. That feels pretty good for 4 mana. You do 3, that's even better.
Really
you do
good.
it every turn. Berserk is a cool card to put in here because you can pump something up like crazy and then give it extra, during your extra combats. Just win, so you don't have to sacrifice it, you know what I mean? Magical Christmas Land, other honorable mention is Delina Wild Mage. Just imagine a world where you play Delina and then you roll a 20. and you end up with 2 token copies of Tifa. And although they don't get attack triggers because they enter attacking, they do give you extra combats. If you hit Magical Christmas Land with just what is provided in the deck list below, I think you could get 36 extra combats. I think that's possible if you had the proper like 6 cards out, which good luck getting them all out because I don't play with tutors. But like if you had Roaming Throne, Double Strike, Go, Annie joins up, all that stuff out at the same time. Boy, that's a yeehaw and the way to scoop. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's how we do it. That's how we do it around here. The last one I want you guys to take a look at is Umaro Raging Yeti. At the beginning of combat on your turn, I'm doing this from memory. At the beginning of combat on your turn, all your creatures get +3/+0 and trample. Oh, you pick one at random. It's 3 options. They get +1/+0 and trample. You discard your hand and draw 4 cards, or it deals 5 damage to any target. And that happens at the beginning of each combat. You're happy with all 3 of those options. There's a little bit of randomness to it, so it's fun. It'll create hype moments for you and your play group. You'll always remember when you gave your entire board +9/+0 and trample. You know what I mean?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
By picking the same thing 3 times, it'll happen.
Or wheel yourself.
It'll happen. Yeah. This is a sick deck. This when I was playtesting it, and maybe it was because I didn't have, I just always assume people would have blockers, but people just don't have blockers. It's crazy, dude. They never have blockers. I can always get in for damage somewhere with somebody. Even if it's just 1 extra combat, huge fan. This is a fantastic deck.
Snowballs quite quickly.
It is immediately like in my top 3 favorites, I think. And I'm like known for being like the artifact-y, landfall-y player, if you ask. Our good friend Nick, shout out to our video we had him on. I don't remember what that was. We were drafting. Yeah, so I would love to thank our patrons, King Dom, Richard Dilkes, and Eduardo Soler. They're awesome. They keep us going. If you want to check out our Patreon, you can do so with the link below in the description. We do not have very many like perks yet, but like, hey, you start giving us money and we can start giving you guys more content and better content. I still need I'm holding up my mic.
Man still needs a mic.
My mic stand it's just limp, guys. It don't work no more. So yeah, check that out. Give us a big shout out. Share. Tell your friends about how cool Tifa is, or just build the deck and don't even tell them, and they'll read her and they'll be like, yeah, I think you get an extra combat. And then you're like, no, I got 36, bro. And then tear apart your playgroup from the inside out. Thanks for watching, guys.
Goodbye, everybody.